Hello everyone, Professor Christensen here. This video is going to help you learn how to use your grade tracking sheet. Now the grade tracking sheet is important because it shows you everything that counts for points in the class. Okay, now every class is a bit different. The grade tracking sheet on your screen is the one for financial accounting. If you're in a different class, it's going to look a little different. For example, in an online class, you're going to have a reading assignment and connect assignments, and you also will have discussions along the way. Okay? In a face-to-face class, you will likely have a grade, so I'll go all the way down to the bottom here, for class participation and professionalism. Okay? So take a look at your rubric and your syllabus to see how those are going to be graded. In my class, the class participation and professionalism is broken up into the professionalism grade, for which you have a rubric, and also the at home and in class, so the points that you earn for exercises that you do at home during the semester, and maybe also some in class. Okay? All right, so what you're going to do is, I would recommend every week. So pick a day, whatever day it is, maybe when your assignment is due. Pick a day, fill in your grades to date. The other thing that this is going to show you is, if you get to the end of chapter 1 and you see, oh, I have a connect assignment, I haven't done it. So this is going to show you which things you've missed. And of course, you don't want to miss anything. Remember that connect assignments, if they're late, are penalized 5% a day. Reading assignments, which are the SmartBook assignments, cannot be handed in late. And please watch the Connect videos that are going to help you to understand how all of these different systems work. Okay? All right, so you're going along, you're adding in typing in, these are all this imaginary students' grades, they're typing them in as they go along. Okay? And notice down here, Excel has calculated the total so far. Okay? All right, so next thing, let's say during the semester you want to find out how well you're doing. All right, so let's type in average here because you want to know what your average is. Okay? So your average is equal to how many points you've earned so far. Okay? So let's say points earned to date. And then we're going to divide that by possible points to date. The possible points to date, how many points could you have earned up until now? Well, that's the total of all of these pink cells up until where you have no more grades. So you couldn't have earned anything here because you haven't done chapter 7 yet, right? So our points to date, our possible points to date, I'm going to go up here and use the sum. I'm going to sum up all of the points that you could have had up until now. All right? So in this particular person's case, they could have earned 510 points to date. So the average is equal to how many points you earned divided by how many points you could have earned. All right? So this person has an 89.3 average. All right, so this way they know if they're shooting for the A, then you want to make sure that you study a little more for your tests, bring your grade up. Okay? All right, next, missed exams. All right, number 1, don't miss an exam. Okay? Do not miss an exam. If you miss an exam, I don't do makeup exams, and there's a long story behind that, but I will not do a makeup exam. I do have a very strict policy on exams. If you know that you're going to be away or something is happening, I will be glad to give you the exam before the time that the class takes it, as long as we've made arrangements far enough ahead of time. Okay? So if you miss an exam in a class such as this one, where an exam is dropped, then you don't have to do anything. You're just not going to put anything here because your lowest exam is going to be a 0. All right? So let's say you missed this exam and you have a 0. Well, you don't have to subtract 0 because obviously that's the same. So you don't have to do anything. If you don't miss an exam, yay, which is how it should be, and you get to the end of the semester, down here you're going to subtract whichever one was your lowest exam. So in this person's case, up until now, their lowest exam was an 81. So down here you do minus 81, and then when everything is totaled up, then we're going to have a grade. So I'm going to just put in numbers here so that we can, then we can talk about how to calculate your grade right before the final exam. Okay? Let's say this person decided they wanted an A and they got full credit on almost everything after that. Most of these assignments, if you put in the effort, you're going to be able to get full credit. Okay, so remember the class participation and professionalism, the only thing with that grade is you're not going to know that until right before the final exam. So probably the week of the final exam or the week before that, I will calculate your class participation and professionalism grade. You're going to know how you're doing as you go along, because if you come to class prepared and you come to class all the time, you read the rubric and you know what's expected of you, you're going to have a fine grade. So let's say this person knows, because I calculated their average, that they have a 90 for their professionalism and class participation. Okay? All right, so now it's right before the final. We want to do average again because we want to know how we're doing right before the final, right? So I'm going to copy this, put it here. Okay? So how many points has this person earned to date? 773. Now, what is the possible points earned to date? Well, before the final, and always make sure you take out this lowest point thing, because if you don't take that out, you're going to think you're doing about 100 points better than you are, which is not a good thing to think that, right? Okay, so let's say it's before the final. The only thing you have left is the final. We have 1,000 points altogether. So the total points that you could have earned is 800. So this person before the final has an average of 773 divided by 800. Wow, so that change of behavior and getting better grades on everything has raised their average from, well, I had to change that now. So the average was 80 something before, and now it's up to a 96. Okay, so this way the person knows what they need to do in order to get the grade that they want on the final. Now, let's say this person is shooting for the A. All right, so we know we have a 96 average, which is excellent. What do we need for an A? For an A, we need 900 points. Okay, and you could do this for a B, which would be 800 points. A B plus would be 850 points. You should be shooting for high grades, of course. So let's say this person has wants an A. Okay, so an A would be 900 points. So far, they have 773 points. So the points needed on the final in order to get the grade that this person wants, which is the 900, the A, is equal to the 900 minus the 773, which is going to be H70. Okay, so this person needs 127 points on the final. Because they've worked so hard all semester, they only need 127 points out of 200, which is basically a 60 on the final in order to get an A. Now, I know most A students are not going to get a 60 on the final, and they're going to study more than that, but you can see how this works as you go along. Okay, this point system is designed in this way for many, many reasons. One is that we know that the more practice that you get, the better you learn the material. And so each thing that you do is helping you to earn points. Okay? All right, so I hope that that helps. I want to just address one other thing before we sign off here, and that is if you miss an exam in a class where there is not an exam that is dropped. So if you miss an exam in a class where an exam is not dropped, you're going to add those points onto your final exam. Okay? So instead of 200 points, your final exam is going to count for 300 points. Okay? And what that means is remember when you're calculating your average, then you wouldn't include that 100. The 100 is going to go down here and this will become 300. All right? Okay. So I hope that helps. Make sure it's your responsibility to know how you're doing in the class. Make sure you do this every week. It helps you keep on top of things. It makes you feel good because you know that you're earning points every week towards your final grade, which is great. And you don't have to worry about where you stand because you know at all times. Okay? All right. So I hope that helps. Have a great semester wherever you are in it. And I'll see you in class.